Namaya Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Bhasyatya Deshita Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Jai Gurudev. So, Hare Krishna dear devotees, thank you for joining us. Today is a very auspicious day because it's a celebration of Rathayatra. So we wanted to discuss various aspects of Rathayatra in a few moments, and wanted the good wishes and the blessings of all the devotees so that we can please the Lord by hearing and chanting about His glories. So also we wanted to discuss before that very quickly is the disappearance day of Swarup Damodar and Shivananda Sen. These two are wonderful devotees, intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I just wanted to remember them before we move on to Rathayatra. Swarup Damodar had a very privileged position. He's actually Vishakha in Krishna Leela. And he acted as the personal secretary of Mahaprabhu. He was very close to Mahaprabhu, and he was always with him, especially in Jagannath Puri. And a lot of devotees would like to write poems and books, and they wanted to show to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but they would have to go through Swarup Damodar. So he would read them first, and then once he was satisfied, because he knew the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would pass them to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a very quiet devotee, but very, very intimate, close, and great devotee. And he had very close friendship also with Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis. And there's a lot more to say, but we're limited to that. And Shivananda Sen, another one of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intimate associates, he would escort the Gaudiya devotees to Jagannath Puri every year. And actually, he was very generous. He would provide them with food and lodgings on the way. He also had a pet dog, and he would, especially one journey, the pet dog went with them, and he would look after him very well. The devotees didn't look after that dog very well, and one time that dog ran away, and Shivananda Sen was so upset, he actually fasted because he was concerned about the dog. Natural affection, but also he used to feed him prashadam, and he used to sit and hear kathas. So he was a little upset. Anyway, when they reached Jagannath Puri, they were amazed to see that the dog was actually with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was even throwing food, prasad at him, and he was eating it. And a few days later, that dog actually left his body and went back to the spiritual world. So this is a couple of little pastimes about Shivananda Sen. So let's talk about Rathayatra. This is a verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela. And this is the 13th chapter, first verse. So we can recite this together. Sajiya Krishna Chaitanya Shri Rathagre Inasya Agatam Chitam Jagannatha Pi Vishita.
May the Supreme Personality of God, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, who dance in front of the car of Shri Jagannath, be all glorified. By seeing his dancing, not only was the whole universe held in him, Lord Jagannath himself became very much astonished.
It said that Jagannath's eyes, they grew even bigger. He's very big. He's excited with seeing all the devotees. But when he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance,
You could say the associate of Radharani.
Right.
In Jagannath. In Chaitanya.
So, Srila Prabhupada just wanted to share what he said about it. He said a lot of things. But specifically, so Rathayatra is a meditation on bringing Krishna back into our hearts. Krishna resides within the heart of all living beings, but unfortunately we've forgotten him. So the real purpose of spiritual life is to make our heart a suitable home for God to reveal himself to us. If we are inviting God to reveal himself in our hearts, let's be clean. But if our hearts have accumulated the dirt of lust, envy, arrogance, greed, and anger, and illusion, then he will not be happy to reveal his home within our heart. The purpose of every great spiritual path in this world is to help one another to honestly and sincerely clean our hearts, to cultivate the character of humility, charity, love for God, and compassion for all. So this was Prabhupada's take on Rathayatra. And yesterday we were discussing with the pastime of the cleansing of the Gundicha temple, how we can do what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. He led by example, by cleaning our hearts out so that it becomes pure, so that Krishna can enter. So now, let's see. Okay, great. So Tarun, if you're there,
Yeah, Hare
great.
Krishna.
So you come from this part of the world, right?
I come from Bhubaneswar, but
Bhubaneswar. So there's
Puri
Bhubaneswar.
is Puri is like we very frequently go to Puri.
Very good. Very good. So thank you for joining us. And if I make any mistakes, please do correct me.
Yeah, geographical mistake only.
No, I'm sure you must be very well aware of past times. Yeah. So this is Orissa or Odisha now, as they call it officially. Bhubaneswar is where you normally fly to, and then we go to Jagannath Puri by usually by taxi, sometimes by hours ride. And this is Jagannath Temple. This is the main road of Puri, Grand Road, and this is the destination of the Rathayatra. It starts at Jagannath Temple and it goes 3 kilometers into Gundicha Temple. So, what is Rathayatra all about? When Krishna left Vrindavan in his youth, he promised that he would return very soon. But actually, he didn't return for a long, long time, 100 years or so. And the residents of Vrindavan, the Brijvasis, would feel great separation from Krishna. And actually, Krishna also felt great separation from them. So one time, Krishna was planning to go to Kurukshetra, and the Brijvasis were very keen to see him. And he wrote to them saying, instead of coming to Dwarka, come to Kurukshetra. I will be there for the solar eclipse. So he invited them. And they met. The residents of Dwarka, which is a very majestic place, arrived there in Kurukshetra on chariots. And the residents of Braj, Vrindavan, they were simple cowherd people. They came on ox carts. They might have been simple people, but they held the heart of Krishna, even more so than the residents of Dwarka. And the families, they met, and there was a very joyful reunion. And of all the residents, the leading gopi, Srimati Radharani, she always feels great separation from Krishna more than anybody else. And she and the other gopis, they were determined to bring Krishna back. So this Rathayatra is really the loving exchange between Krishna and the gopis at the place of Kurukshetra, where they take Krishna's chariot, they drag it all the way from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. So the Jagannath temple, it represents Dwarka or Kurukshetra, and the Gundicha temple represents Vrindavan. So this is the ecstatic, transcendental journey. It's full of loving pastimes between Krishna and the gopis. And the glory of Prabhupada is that he has made this Rathayatra accessible to the whole world. We are so fortunate. When he was a child, he used to organize Rathayatras locally. He very much loved Jagannath. And he would organize the neighborhood, and they would have a really big festival in Rathayatra. And of course, later on in his life, in his 70s, he brought Jagannath to the West. And now, practically every major town or city will have the festival of Rathayatra throughout the world. This is the glory. So Rathayatra is celebrated on the second day of the waxing moon in Asha, which is today, Tuesday the 23rd of June, 2020. And the carts would be built, the chariots would be built. They would start building them 4 months earlier on Vasant Panchami. That's when they would get the wood. They would collect this wood from the Ranapur forest, Dasapala. Have you been there, Tarun?
Yeah, Daspala is quite like around 30 kilometers from 40 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. So I've been there, yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
But they collect the woods from a particular forest, not from the town.
Right.
Yeah. So what we know is the head priest, he gets a dream. In his dream, Lord Jagannath comes and says to get the wood from a particular tree, particular set of trees in Daspala. So it's a big forest there. So yeah.
Is it called Ranapur forest by any chance?
Ranapur is a village nearby, but Daspala is a bigger town.
Okay, thank you. And yes, I heard that he has a dream, and the tree has to have certain auspicious markings as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 You said correctly. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And as we're talking, if there's anything you want to share, please do so. We would love to hear from you. You know.
Yeah, you should have told me to come prepared. Yeah. Okay. If I remember anything, I'll obviously.
You had a lifetime of preparation. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So the chariots, they're built in a specific way. Each of the 3 chariots. So each of the deities would have their own chariot, and the work begins on Akshaya Tirtya, which we discussed.
Tritiya is the 3rd day. Yeah.
3rd day, yeah, that's right. And when we actually discussed this festival, this was one of the points. That's when they start building this cart. Very auspicious day. So the tradition is as follows for Lord Jagannath's chariot. It's called Nandi Ghosh, 50 foot high, approximately. Has 16 wheels with 16 spokes, and flag is Garud's, chariot is Malathi, and there's 4 white horses. I can't remember the names of the horses. The protector of the chariot is Garud, and the gatekeepers are Jay and Vijay. They use 832 wooden parts, and all of these are fitted without nails. The iron clamps they may use to reinforce the chariots. And the color of the canopy is yellow and red. Now, I'm going to go through a lot of slides now, most of them quite quickly.
Would you like to say something?
So this is the daru, the wood. It's worshipped before it's actually brought to the Jagannath town. And there you go. I can see them worshipping the wood. They make new carts every year. Good point. Yeah. This is the starting the carving. This is the wheels. They're starting to make the wheels. And they're quite huge wheels. The size of 6 foot, 7 foot high. And it's hundreds of carpenters, laborers. See the spokes being hammered in. And they're substantial work. It's amazing.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Just one of the pictures you showed, just the hammering. I was quite surprised by that because that hammer didn't look like if it had any nails in it. It's like the tools used are like very organic as well.
Yeah.
Point. So important. Good point. I like it. And these are very sturdy. I think in the 50 years ago, they may not have been so sturdy, but they made them sturdier as time has gone on. So this is the roll base. Yeah, that's right. 16 wheels with 16 spokes. We're not going to count them today because we're going to run out of time. And then they build it up. We're going to see that a little bit more now. Now today, Priti actually guided us to a very nice video which shows this. So these are the wheels. I'm going to go through this. It's really quick. So just if you blink, you're going to miss a slide. Huh? So try not to blink. These words are in Bengali, Oriya. And Tarun, if you want to expand on it.
Chaka means wheel.
Yes, Chaka means wheel. Very good. So this is the wheels, the spokes. Akka presumably is a spoke. Is the
Akka is a hub, the middle part. Yeah.
Very good, very good. And this is the axle.
Yeah, axles. I don't know what they're called in Oriya. Yeah. Ara is the supporting wood. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Dandia
is the same thing as Ara actually. Similar, basically supporting.
I'm so glad you're here. You know. So this is this is the base, and then on the base they will have the platform, and this platform is you can see huge. It's a really huge place, and these are bunkies here. I'm not sure. This is probably it's partly decoration, I think, but it's also to keep this firmly together. And you can see all the way around. Yeah.
I don't know what they refer to by bunky.
Yeah. Yes. This is to keep the balance. Kani, to keep the balance of the lot. This is what they use. And look at this. This is so amazing. And then they have this banister all around. It's like a real temple. This chariot is actually built like a temple, Orient style. And then Sankha, this is to keep the staircase that will come. So this
Sankha is the Sankha, you know, that's the conch shell.
Yes.
And this Dwara means the gate. The gate is named as Sankha. Yeah.
Yes. So the deities will come. So they have a big staircase, which we'll see a bit later on. And then this is the platform, the first platform. And this is, Krishna can't live without Gaipata, Gomata. So
that's true, yeah.
Krishna has to have Gomata wherever he is. And then these are the...
So Nahaka means pillars, small pillars. Okay. Sola means 16. So there are 16 pillars.
16 pillars. Oh, very good. Yeah. And this is the Singhasan. This is the Singhasan, the throne where he will sit. And then this is the charioteer, Malati, in the case of Jagannath. And this is Bhumi. So this is the platform. Presumably Bhumi means earth, right?
Bhumi means earth, but in this case, it's actually the platform where people stand.
Yes.
The priests basically stand there.
That's it. Now they will start building up so that they can put a canopy. And this is Atha. So
Naka. Naka is small pillars. Atha is 8.
8 pillars.
So there are 8 small pillars.
So they're building the base now for going up. Banki, this is this bit here to presumably keep this base in place. And then they have these special things they put on. Again, it's to solidify this base. And they have the Sakis.
Sakis is Krishna's associates, yeah.
Associates. They're playing the flute and whatever. And then these are different fish and different things. Symbols are here. What's Kanak Mundai?
Kanak Mundai, I don't know the meaning of that. It's a technical term, probably. Sure. Traditional word, yeah. Kumbha Patta. Kumbha is the colors that we used to use. Patta is the kind of artwork.
I see.
Yeah.
And then this is Rahu Patta to protect against Rahu.
So Rahu is the artwork basically there.
Yeah. Pida, this is
Pida is the pedestal
the pedestal.
on top of, yeah.
They're building it up. Danda,
Danda is again small sticks.
more sticks. Yeah. So they're just so building it up to put the kalashis here. Paran, Pati.
Paravadi, I don't know.
Yeah.
So they build it like temple, like a bigger base, then a little smaller base, then little smaller base on top of that, like that.
And then this is the kalashis coming up now.
Yeah.
What's Dadi now?
Dadhi Nauti. Yeah, Nauti is the base, and Dadhi is where normally people carry yogurt.
Okay.
So yogurt pots look like that. So yeah. So yeah, on top of the temple also, just below the Nila Chakra, there are small little Dadhi Nautis, and then little bigger Dadhi Nauti, then little bigger Dadhi Nauti.
That's it. That's
on
it.
top of that.
And then they have the chakra.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And then on top of the chakra, they have the danda on which they have the flag. So this is the raw structure, and then the canopy comes on top. So it's a real work of art. This is no joke. Amazing effort that they make. And then this is without Jagannath, and then Jagannath will sit there very beautifully. There he is, a very close-up version. So this is an idea of the chariot, how they build it up. And Lord Balaram's is similar, but it's a little smaller, 47 foot, 14 wheels, 14 spokes. The emblem is the plow. The Ruka is his chariot driver. Again, 4 horses, and the protector is Anandashesh. Gatekeepers in Nandi and Sunandi. And 763 wooden parts are used. And the canopy color is green and red. And Subhadra, a little bit smaller. Again, it's called the Padma Dwaja. 43 feet high, 12 wheels, 12 spokes. Emblem of the flag is the lotus flower. Charioteer is Arjun, controlling the 4 horses, and protector is Jaya Durga, and gatekeepers are Ganga and Yamuna. 593 wooden parts are used, and the color of the canopy is black and white. So this is an idea of today. They were not allowed to have too many devotees available. There's no devotees, there's pandas and police. So this is today, and this is the step ladders, or the ladders to take the deities inside the chariots. So this is something. Now we did test this, and you might not be able to see the video. It might come in slow motion, but let's test it anyway. So this is 3 years ago, just before the Rathayatra started. This is as close as we can get to Rathayatra at the moment. Just waiting for the arrival. Shortly. Waiting to see you. So this is before the deities are brought into the cart, and this is just preparation, isn't it?
Now this is even before even the Maharaj comes and does all the puja and everything. So this is like first thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning. This is when, so the first to come from the temple will be Lord Balaram with Sudarshan, and Subhadra will be next, followed by Jagannath. And they come out in a glorious procession. So we'll see that. Were you able to follow that? Were you able to hear what was going on?
We can hear you.
Okay. So you can't hear the video. You can't hear when it's
Yeah, the
playing.
video, the audio is a bit distorted, but
Okay, that's
yeah.
fine. We can talk you through it. Okay, good. So then, this is an idea of the number of pilgrims, devotees who are present at Rathayatra. 3 years ago, last year, the year, this is the normal. Yeah, this is normal. As you can see, there's a few people. Social distancing is about 2.5 centimeters. And it goes all the way down. So
No, there's no gap. Prabhu, there's no gap.
Phenomenal. So that gives an idea. So that gives an idea of how many people attend. It's not an event-wide program. It's about 1 million people. So this is Lord Jagannath now coming. He's coming out of the temple, from the temples around here, entrance. And there is Lord Jagannath. Oh yeah, that's right, the entrance is there. And he comes around. That's actually Jagannath coming out. And it's really hard to make him out because it's quite a long way away. And he's actually ecstatic, and he's dancing his way into the cart. This is with a nice swagger. He's dancing. Can you see him dancing? He's dancing away there.
Can I make a brief point here, Prabhuji?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so one of the reasons the 3 deities come out basically out of the temple is to allow even the lower caste people who are traditionally not allowed inside the temple. So anybody in any caste, any religion, people can go and touch him. So we call it inclusivity, and he allows everybody to come closer to him and hug him.
That's right.
So when Pahandi happened, this is called Pahandi, where they bring the deities who are like 2 feet taller than a normal person. So they bring him in a swinging way, and we normally go and try and close into him and touch him. So at the end of the Pahandi, when the deities are installed in the Ratha, you will find all the paints have gone, like the new painting that they would have done for the eyes and the nose. You will not find it anymore because people would have like made it all sort of thing. Yeah. So yeah. So inclusivity is one of the main reasons why the deities came out.
Yes, for sure. He is very merciful. Jagannath is so kind. He's the only deity who comes out and he gives his darshan because he wants to see us all. And he's not excluding anybody from seeing him. But the interesting thing is, during the rest of the year, the pandas worship him. But when he becomes ill, he actually is served, if you like, by the lower caste, tribal people. And the analogy is made that when we are healthy, then we are out and about. But when we're not well, we go home and we get treated by our family to get well. It's the same with Jagannath. When he's not well, he comes home and becomes close to his family. His family members actually are the tribals. So it's very interesting how that works because he's showing that he treats everybody without discrimination. So very interesting. Thank you for showing that.
This morning, when I listened to the commentator, it was also saying the 3 colors also mean, showing exclusivity. Inclusivity, because like Balram is black. Jagannath is black, Balram is white, Subhadra is golden. So, all the colors that you can find in this world are included in these 3 colors.
And it's also described that actually it's not that people are carrying Jagannath, it's Jagannath who is dancing onto the chariot. He's actually doing it himself. This was one of Radhanath Maharaj's questions to the pandas. And the pandas told him, don't think that we are carrying him. Jagannath is dancing. So it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. This would be around about 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock.
He comes up late, so it's about 11:30.
11:30, yeah. 11:30. And slowly but surely, he will make his way. He's loving this. This is his forte now, because he's seeing all his devotees there. He's so happy. So this is a more closer up version. If you can see his beautiful crown, so magnificent. It's even bigger than he is. And look at his eyes. They're so huge. He's just so attracted by the devotees, seeing all the devotees. And Tarun, have you ever got to hug him here like this?
I managed to touch him once, just once. Yeah. I still feel it in my finger. It's so enchanting, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
You'll always remember it. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you, Tarun. And then this is once he's on the altar, on the Singhas, on the chariot. They will do arati. Okay, so.
Priti, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I did want to ask, so is anyone allowed to go to that area when Jagannath is transitioning from the temple to the Rath? Because it always seems as if it's only the pandas that are allowed to be near him.
Anyone can go if you can. If you have got lots of energy, you can.
Okay, cool.
I think Tarun, nowadays you have to have a ticket because there's so many pilgrims. Before, I think anyone could just go, but now you have to have a ticket to be in the area.
To go nearer, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
In 2018, when we went, Jayanti made good friends with a cameraman. And he was saying, I'm just going to go there. And Jayanti said, can you take my husband? So I joined him, and he had the pass to go close by. And luckily, we were able to enter. But Jagannath was already on the Singhasan, on the chariot by that time. But I think it's very limited.
Yeah, it's ticketed event now, so ticketed
I'm not even sure if tickets were there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's what they were saying. Yeah.
Right. So then, once the deities are on the chariot, Jagannath is the last one to go on, and the king of Puri will arrive by palanquin. And we have a little idea here. This is the king coming. That's the palanquin. I think, yeah, palanquin's there. So in the traditional days, I think it was there was an elephant who would bring the palanquin, but things are a little different now. And there's quite a crowd, so they would have to. Oh, actually, yes, that's right. The police make a nice cordon for him to go down.
This is an important event, Prabhuji. This is an important event.
On all the pilgrims, keep them cool. There will be ambulances. There will be lots and lots of volunteers who would help. And this is Sakshi Gopal. He's a very nice devotee, Srila Prabhupada's disciple. We met him first time actually in Chennai. This is the king. This year, as you can see, he's got the identification mark of COVID-19, the mask. And this year again, he's doing Aarti to Jagannath. And you can see this is Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath ki jai. So the king performs the service of sweeping the roads and the cart with a golden handled broom. and he offers different items to the three lordships, Jagannath Brother and Subhadra Mayani. And the reason for this is to show humility before the Lord of the universe, who is in charge of that. And then, slowly but surely, the chariots pull off. First, Balaram goes, then Subhadra Maharani, and finally, Jagannath. It could take many hours to reach Gundicha, which is 2 miles away. Sometimes they don't reach on the same day, but today they have. This is today. This is, normally there would be millions of people, but today it's just a handful in terms of, compared to the million. Still, maybe a couple of thousand.
It reminds of London Rathayatra.
You see the Jagannath temple in the background. This is Balaram, by the green and the red guitar. Okay, so that's the next one. So this is Jagannath in 2018. This is so amazing. So Jagannath's passing by. You can see the 4 horses, the big platform, the pandas staying there, cartels, the cartels, and a lot of people, a lot of police protecting the pilgrims when anybody crashed. Wonderful to go to pull the tent. These are the 4 horses. So this is Jagannath going past. It was quite an eventful satsang, that one. And the day after, Jayanti had a chance to pull. I was fortunate. I followed some German devotees into the crowd, and they protected me, and I was able to pull the rope. I fell a few times. They kept picking me up. I was really fortunate by the Lord's mercy. And this is the following day. It's much easier. There's less crowd, and you can actually get to pull the rope just about. And this is the rope. If you see the rope, it's quite it's a huge thing. Even just seeing the rope is auspicious. Even just seeing the rope. Let's just see if we can get it. There you go. Got a little sight of the rope here. Even seeing this rope is auspicious. And then it finally reaches Gundicha, possibly the same day. Today it's already reached, so let's see, assume it's today. So the pandas would be all making lots of offerings and doing artis. They would also give prasad to the pilgrims. They would give a bit of the rope, perhaps.
And pilgrims can also give items like bhoga, like even saris and things to the pandas at this time.
And this is now
The next day.
the next day.
So basically, the deities stay in the paths whole night. They go into the Gundicha temple the next day. So this is the following day.
So you can see he's walking with a swagger. He's so happy. He's come to Vrindavan. This is his land. Devotees who love him the most are here. So another angle. Oops. Closer. And you see Jagannath, how he walks. He doesn't walk straight like a Lord Ramatin. He's got a swagger. There you go. He likes to see everybody. He's having a good look. Who's this?
He's turning around with me.
So Janaki, what do horses represent? They're the chariot drivers.
They pull the chariot.
Yeah, they're assisting the devotees. Janaki.
Okay, thank you. Because I wasn't sure. Because I guess in the past time the chariots were dragged, so I always wondered.
True. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. But these four, the horses have names as well. I forgot what they are. But even the horses have specific names. So,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the horse's name. It kept. If you watch the video, which the YouTube link, where you took that the way the chariot was constructed, not just then, but a lot later, in the I don't know what they call it. Just they would have random facts. So they had the horses' names there.
Okay.
But I was going to talk about the crown because it's really big, so people from far can see where Jagannath is, like when he comes onto the scene, and then there's a huge like noise. You're like, how do they know he's here? It's because of his crown. They can see it from really far.
Good
So
point.
yeah, and this kind of going backwards and forwards. They also say like back when they tried to take Krishna back, you know, he was doing this kind of stuff, like they were like trying to pull him kind of stuff, so he'd go back and then they would pull him and that kind of thing. So yeah, playful.
Yeah, he's never straightforward. Very good. Thank you for sharing that, Didi. Okay. Now, then he's into the Gundicha, all three of them. And this is actually in the Gundicha. It's a very rare photo. As the first one I've seen, I Googled it and it came up. So I was very surprised. It's the only photo I've seen. Because you're not allowed to take cameras into the Gundicha temple. And there, it's very close darshan. We used to stand just by the door here, wasn't it?
No, behind, in the corner.
Yeah, this is opening out, so we are out inside here. And we would stand there, and we used to do 16 rounds chanting there. Sometimes the security would come and tell us to move around out, but we would just move around somewhere else. And the Lord was very kind. He allowed us to chant in front of him.
And you can do a parikram around the
right.
deities at this time.
You can go all the way around. Yes, Priti?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, when I went there just last year, and when they were at the Gundicha temple, that wasn't the kind of base. It was more...
yeah, there's
more,
an old base, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was more rectangular based.
Rectangular.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Good point.
And it was, yeah.
I think these are not the real deities came from the temple. So these are indicative.
Yes.
They are already there in the Gundicha temple.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right, because they don't look the same. They're much smaller. Good point.
They're much smaller, yeah.
And his legs are folded. Look, you can see Jagannath's feet.
Yeah, that's a nice observation.
Yeah, well spotted. Thank you for pointing that out. And I wonder if there is a picture in the Gundicha. Anyway, we'll try to find one in the future. Very good. And this is Jagannath. Where is he now? It's supposed to be on the count. Yeah, I think this is on the count. So, that's right. This is to explain something else. Now, yeah. See, his eyes are very amazing. There's 3 levels of colors. There's red, white, and yellow. So it's explained that the red represents when he's intoxicated with complete happiness, it's ecstasy, because that's when he's also rocking with the devotees. So that's the redness that's represented by the red color of his eyes. And then the white, he's happy with meeting the devotees because there's been 2 weeks of separation from the devotees. So this is happiness, this is ecstasy, this is happiness, and black is unhappiness because he knows very soon devotees will be away from him because they've come for a short period of time to see him, especially when he's come out of the temple. and soon they'll be going away. And he'll also be returning back to the temple, and they may not be able to see him. So that's quite interesting how the eyes represent different aspects of his happiness and unhappiness. That's it. Thank you very much. Are there any other comments or questions? Anybody would like to make?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I've got a reflection I wouldn't mind sharing.
Yes, that'd be good.
So when I got Jagannath's darshan last year, like something hit me. It was like this was his like roop in that Dwapar Yuga time. So I always think like we don't know exactly how Krishna looked. We hear about his eyes and his hands and hair and everything. And you know there are different what's that thing called where we see deities, the Krishnas, they look slightly different. But this is like Narad Muni pointing out to the king, like, no, this is Jagannath, this is who I saw in Dwapara Yuga. So it's like this is like a form of Krishna. This is like, yeah, if you want to know what Krishna looks like, well, this is like one of his forms, you know.
Very good realization.
He looked like this, so this is it, you know. if you can't imagine what you read in books and what does Krishna look like, then yeah, so this is nice.
And this look is the most incredible look because he's in ecstasy. His eyes are so wide open because he's also listening to his own pastimes, because that's what is being shared by Rohini with the queens of Dwarka. So he's in ecstasy because he's hearing his pastimes with the Vijvasis, Mother Yashoda and the gopis. And he's got this huge smile. And his hands are open, inviting us to hug him. So this form is the most extraordinary form of Krishna. It's the ecstatic form of the Lord. And if we fall in love with this form, we're falling in love with the ecstatic form of love, of glory of Lord. So it's amazing. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
Hare
And there was
Krishna.
that.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Kaushalya.
Today was really nice. You know, this morning, 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
the Lord Jagannath came to my house.
Oh, wow. How did
Yeah,
it happen?
because I invited him, you know, through the online. It
Okay.
was really nice. Yeah, the Rathayatra came through the door inside. I prepared the prasadam, aarti.
Nice, nice, nice. Well
Yeah,
done.
it was really nice.
Well
But
done.
unfortunately, my video, I couldn't turn it on, but they could hear me. So they said, never mind, Mataji, at least you just say, Jai Jagannath, Jai Subhadra, Jai Balaram. And that's what I said, you know.
Well done. Well
Yeah, he kept telling me, Mataji, put your video on, put your video on.
done. That's okay.
It was really nice though. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna. Oh, Priti, do you have something else?
And they said that this form is like covering his Ashwarya Bhav and his what's that? It begins with M. Madhurya Bhav.
This is Madhuri.
Because because it's like he's in Dwarka, so he's got that Ashwarya Bhav, and then because he's thinking of Vrindavan, then that's his Madhurya Bhav. Yeah. So it's quite a unique form. It's a very special personality in that sense.
And the queens of Dwarka would be amazed. You know, we give him, you know, the most love. So much opulence is here. He gets the best prashad. He's always thinking about Vrindavan and the gopis, and not even just the gopis. He's thinking about the Gaumatas. He's always shouting out Surabhi or another name of Gaumata, and we just can't understand why. So they're perplexed about his relationship with the Vijvasis. Forget about the gopis. Even with the animals in Braj, he has so much love and affection for them, and they have so much for him. It's quite extraordinary. Thank you very much, dear devotees. If anybody else would like to say anything or ask anything, please do so. Otherwise, we can chant the Shinga Kavach. And today, actually, we wanted to do it especially for Atarish's father, Kemlal Singh, because he's had another amputation of his leg. So I think both legs have been amputated. So we really want to pray to the Lord to protect him and Triyoshi and the family as well.